In today's episode, two pillars near the three sisters, why Russia and Belarus are celebrating without Ukraine. An emissary from Greece, how a trafficker was stopped at the border with Moldova. Moroccan bribers, what price did the foreigners put on an obstructed exit from the airport? 6 years ago, the Senkivka checkpoint in the Chernihiv region was considered a symbol of friendship between Ukrainians, Russians, and Belarusians. Nearby, on the border between three states, a simple monument to friendship of nations, better known as Three Sisters, was erected in the Soviet times. To demonstrate the strength of this friendship, they even organized the annual Slavic Unity Festival. In 2012, two official border posts were installed nearby, the first and still the only ones, because our neighbor was well aware that there was going to be no demarcation as well as no friendship. That's the possible reason why the then representative of Russia, State Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Grigory Karasin, refused to provide any comments. Ukrainians saw the true price of the sister love in just 2 years. Since 2014, no festivals have been held here. Depending on your choice, you can get into two countries from the Senkivka checkpoint in Ukraine. The Russian Federation is on the right side, and the Republic of Belarus is on the left. It is an otherwise ordinary checkpoint with all the necessary attributes. Even though the traffic intensity has significantly decreased over the past 4 years, contraband risks never went away. For example, a large batch of heavy drugs was stopped in Senkivka last year. They were entering the territory of Ukraine from the Russian Federation. We found 26 kilograms of heavy drugs. This tiny dog named Alpha helped found the 26 kilos of heroin and opium. A Lithuanian citizen who was traveling from Russia hid the drugs in his car. The foreigner received a well-deserved punishment, and the dog that exposed him continues working as a drug expert here. Its help is particularly important, since Senkivka now works predominantly in transit mode, with heavy trucks heading to Moldova, EU countries, and Turkey, and returning from there. And who knows what a truck like this one can be hiding. And the Three Sisters Festival is still being held, although now without Ukraine. For example, last year, the Belarusian town of Vetka was hosting it. Although it is fairly hypocritical considering the annexation of Crimea by one of the sisters and the war in Donbass. Acropolis, Roman Agora, Dionysus Theater, Temple of Olympian Zeus. Fortunately for the passengers of this car, they will not see these and many other Greek cultural monuments in the near future. In the middle of the night, a special operation took place at the Reni checkpoint. The driver of the car was the object of attention of the law enforcers. Border operatives took him under surveillance at the end of the last year. Back then, it became known that the Greek citizen came to Ukraine in search of young, beautiful, and most importantly, gullible women. The crafty recruiter promised them guaranteed earnings, and only the border guards knew that the man was recruiting for a Greek brothel. Border guards of the Dozor mobile unit carried out the capture quickly and professionally. According to Ukrainian laws, what the foreigner did is classified as human trafficking, which is a criminal offense punishable by imprisonment up to 15 years. By the way, Greek emissaries were not just interested in Ukrainian women. The same day, Moldovan law enforcers detained 3 recruiters on their territory. The criminals followed the same pattern. They chose girls from poor families as their victims and employed them. What's your guess? All the way in Athens. In its time, Greece bestowed upon the world a unique culture of slavery. Remnants of the former greatness now pleased the eyes of numerous tourists. But slavery did not go anywhere. Reincarnated in a modern presentation, it continues flourishing. When violators are being deported from Ukraine, they react differently. Some show aggression, others make a scene out of it, and some protest as follows. But there are also those who try to circumvent the entry denial. The lash behavior type was demonstrated by a citizen of Morocco at the Boryspil airport. He and his friend were denied entry simply because they couldn't explain the reason behind their arrival. They tried to convince the border guards that they wanted to study at a university. However, it turned out that it wasn't the case during the check. There were no doubts that the men were potential illegal migrants, and soon after they could have appeared on the border with the European Union. But while the formalities were being sorted out, the foreigners came up with a plan. Money is the key to all doors. So one of the Moroccans offered the border guard $800 for himself and his friend. Take it, you won't regret it. Today on border control duty, I discovered a Moroccan citizen who offered me to assist him in illegally crossing the state border for a reward of $800, which I refused because corruption is not my choice. Thus, the foreigner has complicated his situation by quite a lot. After all, offering a bribe to a serviceman is a criminal offense. Watch next. Goods from the old mother territory. A foreigner involved in organization of drug trafficking from Africa got arrested. Undercover moonshine manufacturers. 3 counterfeit alcohol shops were found in Donetsk region. As you know, 30,000 years ago, the first representatives of Homo sapiens came to Europe from North Africa. They were probably hard-working people, since you can see the result yourself. By the way, our ancestors migrated to the continent completely legally. It was their descendants who later started erecting borders, for a reason. Odessa, present day. A citizen of Moldova came here with evil intentions. He planned to organize an entire cross-border drug supply channel to Europe, with transit through Ukraine. The goods are from the old mother territory, North Africa. The drug dealer had plans to settle in Ukraine for a long while, but failed to take into account that international search is not a joke. And his homeland had already been waiting for him. Ukrainian border guards undertook a special operation to apprehend the offender together with the national police and the prosecutor's office. Representatives of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Moldova were also involved. The organizer of international drug trafficking was found in one of private homes in Odessa. He's currently under arrest. In total, border guards had stopped the activity of 7 criminal groups that specialized in drug smuggling over the last year. Alcohol is a dangerous product, but the issue is not just in its excessive consumption, but also in its quality. Basement surrogate can seriously damage your health. However, this is usually not a problem for cheap alcohol enthusiasts. It is unknown how much more work hospitals would have had if counterfeit fiery water reached consumers. But that doesn't matter because it ended up in the sewers. Border operatives and prosecutors found 3 counterfeit alcohol shops during searches in Bakhmut and Kramatorsk. The combined forces operation is underway here, in Donetsk region, which includes military operations. However, that did not affect the enterprise and moonshine producers in the slightest. The scale of their underground production is impressive. Judging by the volumes of finished products, they worked extra hard day and night at the distillery. Near the 20 tons of suspicious fluid are packages with new labels and corks, as well as over 20,000 counterfeit excise stamps. This truck, completely laden with 10-liter Tetra packs of counterfeit goods, also hadn't yet left the factory. The losses of underground moonshine producers are enormous. The value of the seized equipment alone is estimated at 28 million hryvnias, and we can only guess how much they could have made from selling the fake goods in the trading network. In the next episode, the spawning of smugglers in Sumy region. Why is caviar gradually becoming a trend at the border? Hazardous hot water bottle. What are the results of rapid analysis of the rubber container?